Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of Poor Man's Bonsai. I'm stoked I finally got a new camera, so hopefully it's one where I can see the screen as I'm filming, so hopefully I can see if it ever stops filming in the middle of pruning a plant or something. Anyway, I'm just going to do a quick little video to kind of show this sort of interesting bonsai. This is an asparagus fern. I'll put the scientific name in text, but there's a couple different types of plants that you'll see called asparagus fern. And anyway, but I did some reading up on this before I filmed here and saw that these actually aren't actual species of fern. They're just, that's their sort of their common name, but these are very common where I'm at. I see them growing in people's yards, up telephone poles, up just growing around. They're very hardy, and in fact this one was very hardy as well. I had a planter in our front yard that was kind of just being neglected and whatnot, and I didn't water it very much. I had a little water feature that I'd put in, but we hadn't really used it in a while, and this was, I had planted this along it, sort of growing over it. But anyway, it was growing in very dry soil, and I actually wanted to turn that area into a sandbox for my daughter, especially during this time where we're all staying at home a lot more. I figured it'd be fun to give her some fun things to do while we're home. So I took out some of the rocks and the plants that were there and turned it into a sandbox, and this was one of the plants I took out. And I noticed when I took it out, it had just, the roots were really cool looking. I'll do some close-ups of the roots. And so I put it in a bonsai pot, and a lot of the branches kind of got crispy and a little dry at the end. So what I'm going to do is just simply trim this down. But I love the look of the exposed roots, and it's definitely grown some new shoots since I put it in this pot. So I'll just do a quick little video of me trimming this thing and show you kind of a fun little bonsai done out of an asparagus fern. Alright, let's do it. Alright, so here we are a little closer. I really love how these roots look. They remind me of a bunch of fingers kind of stuck together, and they just look really cool. I'm sure some of these have kind of dried out, so I'll try to clean some of it up. But I know the plant is alive. I know it's doing okay, at least, because some of these shoots, like this one right here, and some of these other ones have grown since being in this pot. So my goal is just to kind of thin it out, sort of have it start not completely over from scratch, but just get it down to much smaller, lower branches and shoots, so that the tree could focus a little bit more on thickening up the greenery down low, because some of these branches are really tall. They're not even in the frame, and I just think maybe it's trying to give a lot of energy to those branches, whereas I want to kind of thin out some of it and have it be a little bit of a lower maintained bonsai. So I'm just going to start with trimming away all the dead stuff, which yeah, it's quite a bit. These grow really well in pretty poor conditions. As I was mentioning in the intro, I hadn't really even used the little water feature, little stream that I had made. I hadn't used it in quite some time, years. So this thing had just been kind of growing off of very little watering, and just its roots finding places to get water. So alright, so now you can see we're pretty much down to just live green trunks or shoots here. So now I'm going to start thinning out ones that I feel like aren't going to help with the look. I'll kind of show you the ends of a lot of these are crispy, so I will also do that. I will cut back all the dead ends from the top, and I know you probably can't see this super well, but I'll try to do this quickly and talk to entertain you while I do that. What I love about these is they just sort of naturally create canopies without having to really trim them to do that. So what I'm trying to do is just basically just trim it, give it a good trim down, and then let it do its thing. And just trim it occasionally after that. But even some of these I'll probably even cut this big one off, because I think if we could start with a little bit less and then develop it from there, that'll be really cool. little bit more on the dead parts. And I'm trimming right above where there might be a green part of a branch, so that hopefully the rest of the branch lives on. And I'm actually going to cut this one off too, because the only part that was green on it is looking a little... Oh, actually that one's pretty good. Oops, oh well. Okay, I think that's all I'm going to do on it. I thinned out a lot of the shoots here, got rid of all the dead shoots, and now I'll just do a close-up where you can see a little bit more of the plant, just to see what it'll look like now. And I think with it thinned out, it looks a lot better, a lot cleaner. Now maybe you could put more energy into developing new, younger shoots. And the goal, I think, is just to give some different dimensions as the plant grows. And yeah. And I hope you enjoyed this. It's just a simple, fun way to even just say you're going to re-landscape an area or take a part of your yard and you want to do something different with it. See if there are any plants in that area that you can put into pots and turn into bonsai. I always like doing that, and that's a perfect poor man's bonsai way of doing things, because you're not having to pay for it, and you're kind of giving a plant that at one point served as a cool piece in like a planter in your yard. You're giving it a second life, so to speak, by putting it in a pot as a bonsai. So just a fun way to go about doing that. So I'll show you some close-ups of this right now.